All right. This is on imagination. Set the stage. Lights. A stage. A player. And an audience. It all opens the door to imagination. And I reach out my hand and invite you into my mind. People ask me, why do I wear a crown? I smile and say, to remind me who I am and to remind myself how I am to be treated. And in that moment, I have taught them who I am and how I am to be treated. I watch them change before my eyes, and I know I have just shifted their perspective. I feel their perspective shift from suspicion to accusations of crazy to respect. And then I listen, and they tell me their stories. Well, they did this, and they did this, and he said that, and then they did this. And I hear the disbelief in their tale. I hear them trapped in a constant cycle of disbelief, incomprehension, lack of understanding. I can't believe what they did. They play through the details. They relive the story as if they were following the threads of events to a clear, decisive conclusion that they can comprehend, but which never comes. And they call me crazy. Can you believe this? I'm now leaning against the door, picking my nails, almost bored, and I shrug. Oh, yeah, you're in Wonderland. What do you expect? They try again. They retell their story. They tell another story. They tell the same story in a different manner. Maybe you don't understand. I give them no surprise because I am not surprised because I understand. And they call me crazy. I nodded. Yeah, you're in Wonderland. And they blink at me, confused. How many of you have been called crazy? How many of you have been called insane? How many of you still wonder, am I insane? How many of you question your own sanity? What is reality? What is the right reality? We all have cognitive processing where information enters our minds and we evaluate this information using the 5 stages of grief, which are not actually the 5 stages of grief at all. They are called the 5 stages of change. There is shock and awe, and then negotiation, which is really fact checking. But you can't fact check insanity. That doesn't make sense. She did what? But that doesn't make sense. She did what? But that doesn't make sense. But she did what? But that doesn't make sense. And you get caught in a logic loop, forever trying to sort out the madness of madness. Mental illness is when the logical mind is not capable of understanding the madness of insanity. Insanity is when an individual gets stuck living in a mind, a perspective, a dimension that is not their own. Acceptance is when you recognize the madness from the logic and you can understand it. Accept the fact that they are insane. They are insane. That is why you can't figure it out. That is why your cognitive core is stuck for all eternity in logical processing, because you are logical to your dimension and they are insane. And the moment they called you crazy was the moment that they projected their own insanity onto you. They projected their insanity onto you the moment they called you crazy. Imagine that you are a king or a queen and you have your kingdom, imagination. And at your side is the jester of insanity. And this jester loves to advise. And this jester loves to declare himself the king of your throne. But this is the jester of insanity. And you are the ruler of your realm. The jester takes your crown and makes laws to rule without justice so they can control their kingdom of insanity. They weave their madness around you, declaring that their madness is reality, declaring that you are insane, all while wearing your crown and playing advisor to your realm. But a crown is not authority. It is the position that is the authority. And you are the ruler of your realm. Get the fuck out of my chair, you say to the jester of insanity. And the jester says, you know what you should do? You should give him another chance. And you should take that job. And you should marry him. And you should break up with him. And you should, but the jester's life is insane. Is the jester really qualified to advise and rule your kingdom? Remember, the jester of insanity is the king of insanity. Who is the true authority of your kingdom? Insane is the world where you arrive to work 15 minutes early, but stand in line for 20 minutes to clock into their system, where they then clock you in late and then punish you for being late because of their system. Insane. Insane is the world where you sell your most rare and valuable resource, your time, for bottom dollar, less than the living wage. Insanity. Insane. But you are logical. You feel the insanity. You feel the madness. And you believe the jester's lie that you are insane, when in fact their accusation of your insanity was a projection of theirs in disguise. We often confuse accusations with projections. Stop trying to rationalize the irrational. Now, I am queen of my own dimension, and I walk among the insane. Now, you tell me how I, with my logic, can walk among such insanity. Well, I am going to give the insane what they want. I give them the crazy that they expect. I meet their expectations so they feel safe. This is called forward giving. Forgiveness, for short. It is when you give your own vulnerability to another to make them feel safe, because you empathize with their madness. That is forgiveness. So I don my crown and I declare that I am queen, and I disguise myself as a jester of insanity among jesters of insanities. And I use reciprocity, and I mirror their own madness back to them. And now their guard is down. They open their imagination to me, and unsuspecting, they invite me in. But the crown does one more thing. I know the mind of insanity. I know when they see a crown, they subconsciously know how to treat me. And without even thinking about it, they are calling me Your Highness. And they are treating me like royalty. All because I wear a crown on my head. I don a red wool coat that flows, or one of purple. And their subconscious mind straightens their back and they bow and they say, my liege. How else can you safely mock among the insane who are so crazy that they think their own insanity is real? We are all forced to wear their blinders. Put these on, they say, and they cover our eyes with Rorschach prints. The jester of insanity then shows me a mirror. Look, he says, this is the mirror of reality, he cries, and I gaze upon a picture taped to the mirror of a wild goose sticking its tongue out at me, and there are googly eyes that have been placed on the picture. Reality is, he screams at me. I have no idea what he is saying because I remind myself that he is the jester of insanity. And I know that the mind is a perspective, which is only my dimension of reality, of which I am the authority. And I am logical. I know that reality is your dimension where you are king or queen. I know that insanity is when the I of authority has been made the you of jesters, so that the you of jesters can steal my I of authority. But authority is a role, it is a position. It is a position that each of us holds within our own kingdom. And that reality is the dimension of I, where you are just a jester. We are not meant to live in the reality of others. We are not designed to live in the reality of others. Insanity is when an I gets trapped between the reality of others, or they get lost in an alternate dimension, not even of their own making. And I forced to live out their days as a you. So stop trying to rationalize the madness of jesters of insanity. Put down the ball of tangled threads. Accept the nonsense. Accept that their accusation of your insanity was in fact a projection of their own insanity. Put down the ball of tangled madness and close the door on their wonderland. Understand now that you are sane and that they are mad because the you has taken your I. And only you are qualified to be king or queen of your kingdom. Now, you tell me, how do I pass this message on to the masses? How do I find my people? How do I sort through the madness and the logic? The logical I lost in a sea of insanity. How do I gain their trust so that they may open their minds and imagination to me? I give them the insanity that they want and expect from me. And then I tell them a story. I delight them with my magic. I soothe them and I make them feel safe. And when they step into my mind, I show them that I know them and that I understand them. So, you are a king or a queen. You are an eye of your own logical, emotional, imaginative reality. And they are your yous, the jesters of insanity. And you, the queen or the king, often summon the jester to court for amusement, entertainment, and delightful joy and fun. But I cannot begin to tell you how important it is that the king always remembers that he is king, or that the queen always remembers that she is queen. And that the jester of insanity, the you, who is guest in your kingdom, projects his insanity onto others through lies, deceit, and accusation, is still just the jester of insanity.